I just wanted to talk real quick about solar generators. On the internet recently, I've been seeing a lot of advertisements for solar generators from multiple different companies. I actually purchased one myself about 20 years ago, and it was fantastic. For what it did, it gave me the ability to run some 110 volt appliances off a small unit that I could carry around. It was very cool, especially for computers and stuff. At the moment, with the Ukraine war and everything else that's going on in the country, people are probably thinking a little bit more about emergency preparedness, and a solar generator can be a really good thing for that. This is what I really want to talk about, is that even though they are a really good product, I think people are paying way too much for them. There's a popular one that I keep getting advertisements for, and the whole page, when you go to check it out, the whole page is pretty pictures, fancy pictures, very colorful, and beaming testimonials, but it's very hard to find the actual specifications on these units, because if you looked at the specifications and then compared them against what they actually are, you realize you're paying a lot of money in some cases, a lot more money than what you can do it for yourself. So what is a solar generator? A solar generator is basically it's got storage in the form of a battery of some sort. It's got an inverter and of some sort. So the inverter takes the DC voltage from the battery, from the storage, and it converts it into an AC voltage, 110 normally, and then you can run your appliances off it. At the moment, I've got this one just charging, some rechargeable batteries. And this is a really good setup for here. So it's got a battery, it's got an inverter, it's got this is a charge controller, and what that allows me to do is to hook up I can either use solar power, or I could use wind, or I could use even mains power to keep this charged up. So it's got all these things, and it's also got a solar panel. Well, going off the name solar generator, it should have a solar panel, but the actual piece that you carry around, plug your computer into, or plug your refrigerator into in an emergency, that part doesn't generally have the solar panel on it. Now, back to the specifications. A lot of the time, you go to buy these things, maybe you're buying it out of fear, maybe you just don't know. Most people don't understand it, so they're probably quite happy to pay the amount of money that they're asking for these solar generators, rather than pick up a few simple components and put it together yourself. But just let me tell you the difference in price. So what I've got here is a 106 amp hour, and did you hear that, amp hour? 106 amp hour lead acid deep cycle, marine deep cycle, I think should say it there, marine RV use. These are a pretty good deep cycle, not the best, there's much better deep cycles out there. And I've got a 1500 watt inverter. So with this 1500 watt inverter, I could probably run a washing machine if I needed to. I could definitely run a furnace, most furnaces anyway, and fan, swamp cooler. There's a lot of things I could run off that inverter. The one I've got up at my off-grid place is 3000 watts, and it's quite easy for me to run an AC and a welder off the inverter. But then you can do all these things, but what you don't often see in the advertising for these solar generators, you don't see how long they're going to last. So I've got a couple of things. I just did a little quick bit of math. So I've got a small freezer at my other place. It draws about, I'm going to say 100 watts. It's actually, I think it's closer to 80 watts when it's running. But let's say 100 watts for the day. and running off a 12-volt source, it's roughly drawing 8 amps from my battery. And at 8 amps, so if I only take the battery down to half charge, which is what you're supposed to do with these, so I'm only supposed to use, of 106, I should only be dropping it down to 53. Okay, so I should only be using half the charge out of these batteries. Now, at that rate, that small deep freezer, it's a little chest freezer, I've got about 6 hours of backup. So I can run that little freezer about 6 hours off this inverter, battery, and solar panel. Maybe a bit more when the sun's out, it's going to stretch that out, but that's not a whole lot of time. And then, let's say I run it flat, and then I need to recharge from this solar panel, which is a 100 watt new power solar panel. I'm going to need to recharge from that. It's going to, at the very minimum, if everything's working perfectly and it is actually 100 watts, which most of them never are, I'd have to have 5 hours of full sun to recharge my battery to full charge. Now, if you consider that little chest freezer of mine, if it's warm in the summer, it might be running maybe 80% of the time because it's warm in summer. In which case, I'm looking at 150 amp hours of usage throughout the day. So I don't have enough storage, and I don't have enough solar panel to run even a little chest freezer for any period of time. And that's what they don't tell you in these advertisements. So now let's talk about price. What I saw on the internet was, I think it was 1500 or an 1800, pretty similar, not much difference, about the same storage, 100 amp hour, I believe. In fact, I think their amp hours were much less than that, and a 100 watt solar panel, which is what you got there, and they were charging $2,500 for that setup. And I think they threw in a free one as well, but all these little free stuff. And so what I got here, the same or better as far as performance is concerned. I've got a $100 battery, $200 inverter, $100 solar panel, and a $20 charge controller. So I was at $420, and it's basically the same performance-wise as what some people are paying $2,500 for. So, if you don't want to learn about solar and all this electrical stuff, that's fine. Maybe go out and spend $2,500 on something. But for those of us who don't have a lot of money, maybe this is a better choice for you.